Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in again. This is Latika Nair from Latika Nair Design. So I'm on for another Tuesday webinar. Thank you, some of you who've joined live. I will have the chat box open. If you want, you can post your questions. Only I would be seeing it, so that's no problem. Post your questions. I'll just read as they come through or just talk about them. And others who are watching replay, please feel free to comment or DM me and I'm happy to help you. Now, today's webinar is quite different. I'm not talking about any specific topic or something about, giving you more idea on design. This topic is more about giving you an idea what interior designers do and why we consider ourselves as important when you're thinking about your home. Now, my tagline, it says, if you've had a chance to look through my website or something, my tagline says, design your home, design your life. And I really mean it. What is it? Home plays a very important role in our life. We all know that. But having a actual working functional space, what does that do? What changes that brings about than a normal routine than going about? Now, it is more than just the aesthetics. Of course, aesthetics do play a very important role. But other than the aesthetics, there's functionality that comes along. There's the way you use your space that you have that comes along. So it's quite inspiring and energizing when you've got your good space and, you're working in your kitchen, you've got everything handy, you finish your task easily rather than looking for things or pulling things out gets harder. So making the task much easier to do, so makes it more inspiring because then it frees up your time. Another thing is that helps to increase your productivity. Now, it doesn't have to be only a kitchen. It could be any space, say your home office. Having a proper design space helps you create a more productive day and focus. All these things add to your focus. Now, when you think of homes, you've got your common areas. What does it do? It creates your connections, your memories within the space, how you interact with everyone in your space. That's really important. What does that do? That creates health and wellness within the family. So when we consider health as such, in a very subconscious level, all these things play a very important role in your day-to-day activity. And it, piles up when you have your whole day. There are different things that, so say, for example, you're rushing to work in the morning. It would be so easy to have everything where you want in the kitchen. So you can just have a quick, whatever you need to prepare can be done quickly and you can move along. Same with any space in your room, say your bedroom, that's your space you relax, you rejuvenate. Having a nice calming space, where you can relax and then wake up to a beautiful day. That makes a whole lot of difference. And there are a lot of small aspects that when put together, they function together as a whole. So that is why today's topic is more about how we help create that space. So where is it that creativity comes in? Now, you do know when, or maybe sometimes when you're thinking of building or renovating, you tend to call a renovator or a builder. Say, for example, it's a kitchen. Now, of course, they will come down, they can pull down your kitchen and have a new kitchen. But to actually find out what was it that in your kitchen that you like, it's not only about having new cabinets, new benchtop, and new appliances. It's about using your space effectively, getting your functions right, getting your workflow right, what works for you, everybody has their own style. Though we say kitchen has a specific rule, of course you can follow the rule, but everybody has a certain way of working. So what works best for you? Those aspects, the design aspects is not given too much. They're more about just getting things done and built. That's why I always believe there has to be a combination. You first, really important, because it's your ideas, your requirements, which through the help of an interior designer, we are able to provide drawings or specs, whatever is required for the builder to build the space for you. So I always believe it's a teamwork and everybody has their role to play. So let me just share my screen and I will take you through one of the projects I did. Okay. So that's what I said. Latika Nair Design, design your home, design your life. And I really believe that is very important. And that does make a big difference in our life, having your home done right. Now, a little bit about me. Some of you, I do know you've been following me. For others, I am a Bachelor's of Architecture from India. I did my architecture and I worked in India and Middle East before moving to Melbourne. Even in Melbourne, I've worked with few architects and then slowly started working more into interiors, and that's how I started specializing in interior projects. Now, while working in interior, I just felt there was this notion that, interior designers, it's not accessible to everyone. And I wanted to get to work with more homeowners so that they can actually, invest and transform their interior space as they think with the help of the interior designer. And that is how Latika Nair Design was born. So what do we do mainly? So if I can categorize it, I would say mainly it's two. One is renovations and one is interior design and decorating. Now, this can be both for renovation jobs or even existing places or new build. So, interior design and decorating comes to any scale. But renovation, of course, when you're thinking of renovating a space. So that is why I've divided into two zones mainly. So, and there are different services as well that we offer. So even in renovations, of course, I will just take through, there are some basics because not everyone may need a full service. So I've broken it down to 3 levels. The basic is a one-off site visit, which is I come out there, come to your site and talk to you and maybe discuss what your requirements are. And maybe that's all that you need, and then you will be headed in the right direction. So if you can see that image on the right, the top right image, now that home, they had actually called me in to have a chat about their kitchen renovation. But when I went there, I realized that they were planning to have this home for probably a year or two, and they were planning to move out from here. So this was not going to be the dream home. And walking around the house, I realized when I looked at the kitchen was in a pretty good condition. It would still go for a couple more years. It seemed to work all correct. Their positioning, everything was right. But when I looked through the house, the main thing I realized was their flooring and the painting. Now, each room had a different paint and, large wallpaper running on top. You can see that over there. And very, very strong colors. They had yellow, green, blues, and purples running all around the house. So after discussing with the client, they realized they actually don't need to do the kitchen immediately, but they need to get their flooring and the whole house painted. So that was just that one-off site visit I did, and I could direct them. And of course, we just helped them with getting the trades as well. And then they were ready to go. So maybe down the track when they move or they're planning to move, maybe when they plan to do the kitchen, at that time they can think of pulling it down. But for the time being, they're all good to go. So that was just one-off site visit. Another one I went was the husband and wife were doing the renovation by themselves. So, but she had selected a lot of materials and she didn't know it was a bathroom renovation. They had 2 bathrooms. So she didn't know how she wanted some feature tiles. She wanted some different tapware, but she didn't know how to put them together. And she had selected quite a lot of samples at her house. So there I went down there, went to each bathroom that we were thinking and talked to her what idea she had, and I actually put the materials together for her, like creating a mood board, and described what tile she could use and which wall and how she could create it. So that was another one-off site visit. Another package that we do is a design package. Now these are good for people who have builders or renovators that they know and they only want more for the design side. So that's the basic package where we come out there, we come to you, we have quite a lot of brainstorming sessions, decide how we want to design the space and get the drawings ready so that then the builder is able to take the job up. So that is a design package. And finally, we have a full project management. Now, I'm just telling you, this is more for renovation jobs. I'm talking about the scope of work for renovation projects here. The final one is my signature package where I do everything from concept to completion. That is, we have the design. Then, of course, we help you assist and, find the right builder. And then once the project starts, we make sure the builder and we are on track and staying on the design and do a project management until completion. So that is a full scope and a signature package. So that involves more time because it's other than the design, then actually when the project happens and the time frame the project works as well, where I have to coordinate sometimes with builders and tradies as well. So my job there is to take the headache off you and make sure I handle all of that, taking that stress off you. Of course, if there are important decisions that have to be made or some changes, you would be updated. But what I mean is the day-to-day headache of talking to the tradies and organizing these things on site will be done by me. So I do that as a signature package. Now I'll take you through this. If some of you've been following me, you would have seen this post couple, I have posted about this kitchen a long time ago. Now this was an old home. You can see this is the layout that they had. This was the existing kitchen. So where you enter, that's your living dining, and that's where the existing kitchen was. So you've got the wall there, and then that's how the kitchen sits. Now we decided we wanted more. One, the kitchen lacked storage. There was a big problem because we had two large windows on either side, which of course we wanted. We didn't want to take that off. So literally you had just that one side where you could use a full height cabinet. Now this kitchen, of course, you can see there's no island bench or anything, and there's that wall. So they had just, I think, put like a quick dining up there. So this was what we decided. And after talking to the client, I realized she wanted a large cooktop, which was a 900, and that was quite hard to put in this space. You can see that cooktop sits right at the corner with the range hood, where you don't even have enough space, bench space for working. So after chatting with the client, what we decided was we were planning to pull that wall out completely and then have the kitchen kind of redesigned to this position where she could have the 900 top, and we would create that as a focal when you walk in. So this wall, we did not take the structural wall off. The structural members were left. It was only the partition wall below that could be taken off and created. So this created more of an open plan. So now when you walk in, you've got the living, dining, and the kitchen, but we've got the island bench, which kind of visually separates the kitchen from the dining area. And then, of course, we got to working here. Now, in this project, I was doing only part supervision. So it was a builder that they knew. So I was not doing a full-time supervision. It was just a part-time supervision. I provided the builders with all the drawings that he needed to proceed with his work. And of course, if there were anything bits and pieces, we would always get down and just have a chat and take that through. So you can see that's the existing. And then that is where we've pulled the wall, the partition wall out. Then we went for material. While this was happening, of course, material selection, we had to choose the color scheme. It was very obvious the client wanted a cool palette. So you can see we went for the grays and the whites with the black. So that was our color palette. So we actually went around picking the material. We changed the flooring, the cabinet color, the bench top, the flooring for the bathroom, of course, and then the splashback. The splashback was last because it being very plain, white and black cabinetry, we wanted to bring in some element of interest there. So we decided we'll go for a different splashback, and that is how we decided. It's a normal tile, but it's got the mosaic pattern in it, which worked really well for this project. So you can see slowly, the first thing he did was we built a partition wall so that we could get that 900 width of the cooktop between the two windows. So we worked that as a feature wall, and it would be a freestanding range hood with the tile running all through, so creating like a focus. So you can see how slowly after pulling the wall down, then how each stage happens, then the cabinetry comes in, bench comes in, the tiles, we have each progress. So as I mentioned, in this project, I've been part supervision. So I was going into the site just once in a while just to make sure everything was going as we had designed. Now, if it is a full supervision, my input on the site would be much more. I would be more out there regular basis, checking the trades and communicating with them as well, so that you don't have to handle that stress. And that's the completed one. So you can see we've taken, if you can see that structural member, we've taken that wall, which helped us create a larger island bench as well, and even opened up the space. And the range hood and the cooktop turned out to be a focus with the splashback tile running right to the ceiling. And then we had this extra little space. So we had another small storage unit where you can have your regular like medicines and those kind of things, which could be separated from the other area. I'll just take you some more photos. So this is what that side was existing, the other side. And when we renovated, that is how we got a little bit of we had the complete oven, microwave tower there, the fridge, of course, and then a little nook where we could have other plug points and have the other smaller appliances if need be. So that's another view where it shows the wall being pulled out, and that's the dining area. So it's just opened up the area and there's more light in this house now when we walk in. So that shows it from a little more distance where you can see, because we took that wall off, we were able to get the island bench a bit more wider and then actually get into the dining area as well, because then we would have two seating. This would always work as a quick dining, and then we had the proper dining area as well. So by taking that wall, we avoided that circulation space and just made it that one circulation space that could be used up. That's another photo. Some details about the little niche that they had with sufficient power point so that they can use that for any other smaller appliances like kettles, toasters, all those things. And that's the range hood. So this is just to show that the existing one, if you go back, the existing, if you would have had probably a renovator, they wouldn't come up with another alternative of rejigging the whole area. So usually what happens is, okay, we might move things around, but proper spatial planning may not be given, and you might end up having more issues than what you started with. That is why I recommend, if anyone is planning to use a designer, please make sure you have them right at the start, because they are able to actually give you a lot more than, especially interior designers like me, because we come with a strong architectural background. We understand a home as full. So whether it be architectural, structural, plumbing, electrical, we understand the concept of the whole package, and we are able to provide solutions keeping all this into account. Even this one with the range hood and the cooktop, we did not have much of a problem with the plumbing or the electrical, because one, we created a void so that we could take all the services from behind the void, so it wasn't disrupting anything, and the others we could just take it through the skirting. The sink had to be we've had to provide an additional point because originally it was on the other side, but since that being an external wall, getting a point there wasn't as hard, so that was the only point we had to change. The cooktop actually is where the position was originally, just that it was straight and we made it at an angle, so we could use the services in the space behind. If I can show you, if I do that. So this wall that we built in, which is at the corner that we built, so this gap, we've got a little void at the back through which we could take all the services as required, whether it be for the range hood or the cooktop. And we haven't wasted much space because the units below that are drawers, and we extended the cupboards and drawers as much as we could so that we do not waste much of the corner spaces as well. So I hope this has been helpful and you are able to get an idea of how we work. As I said, if you've got any questions, you're always free to DM me or even email me. You can find me anywhere on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. My business is Latika Nair Design, and if you search that on Google, all my socials will come up. Please, if you love, join my Facebook group. It's under the same name, Latika Nair Designs, where I do some tips and techniques. I post some how-to live videos on Thursday. I'm working on making it an interactive group where people can ask questions freely, and we will all respond and get back to you. You can even post your good and bad experiences. It'll be nice to share. So please feel free to get back to me if you've got any more questions. And I forgot to ask, do you have any questions today? Can I just exit the screen? I can't see anything today. As I mentioned again in between, these services that I mentioned are mainly for renovation jobs. Talking about interior design and decorating will be slightly different, which I'll do next time. But this clearly shows of why you need to approach an interior designer to get your job designed, and then you need a builder or renovator to get the job done. Now, I said, once a design or even a rough design is created, you can actually send the same drawing out to a number of builders. And when they give a quote, we can know they've all quoted on the same job. Otherwise, you ask them, you come in, you talk to them, they have no basis. They will just think what is going on in their mind and give you a quote. So you're not able to compare two quotes because you don't know what the two builders or contractors have actually thought for creating. Here, when we work through all your space, we have solutions which suit best for you and then provide solutions and provide the drawing. The builders will give us a quote based on the drawing. So they will have that. And of course, we can make more specific by giving them more specific instructions in the drawings. Once we have all the instructions specified, they are able to give us the best quote possible. And then we are able to compare and select the builder we want to work with. So I hope this has been helpful. Have a lovely day and get back to me if you've got any questions, anything. As I said, you can follow me on Insta, Facebook, and my Facebook group, which is public. It's always free. You can jump in, post your questions, and I will definitely get back, or we can even have comments from the other members in the group. Have a lovely day. Thanks, and thank you for joining again. And those watching replay, thank you very much for joining. Have a lovely day.